The following broadcast is intended for mature audiences. These are real people sharing very real, deeply personal experiences. This content may be considered triggering for others and for those who are sharing. The chat room is a privilege intended for discussions and sharing. You are not being asked to agree, but you are being asked to stay civil and refrain from personal attacks. Listener discretion is advised.
All right, welcome back to Am I Mental? Mostly weekly live podcast where we talk about real people sharing real stories dealing with mental health issues. I am your host, E, and with me, as always, is the co-host, Bexy.
Hey, guys.
So, this week was supposed to be the week that Rachel Conway, from Genuine Psychological Services, was supposed to be on the air with us, but she had a lot of stuff come up. It was a lot of little things, but it all added up to being too inconvenient to be able to do the show tonight. And since Bexy and I don't have a show scheduled for ourselves to share what's going on with us, we decided instead of trying to schedule someone else, we'll just go ahead and run with this. Because both of us...
Unsupervised E and Bexy tonight.
Yeah, so the comedy is likely to come around. I will say that really fast, just kind of a little bit off the topic. The number one city in the world that listens to our podcast is Auckland, New Zealand. Believe it or not. You would think it'd be here in the United States, since we're based in the U.S. and all of our guests are in the U.S. and, our friends are in the U.S. But no, New Zealand as the number one city for listening to our podcast right now. As a matter of fact, last I checked, only 61% of our listeners are in the U.S., 20% are in New Zealand. So, you Kiwis out there, love you, thank you, keep pushing it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't know what time it is over there. I'm going to have to look that up, but seriously, you guys are awesome. And seriously, reach out to us, mentallifecast@gmail.com if you want to be a guest, Tell us what's going on in your neck of the woods. What issues do you guys deal with?
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Outside of that, again, we have to pay our bills. So definitely, if you like what you hear from our show, share the episodes. If there's an episode in particular that resonates with you or you think will resonate with someone else, share it with them. If you know someone that's interested in psychology or just likes human interest stories, share it with them. It's easily the best thing you can do to help out our show. And if you want to do a little bit extra, by all means, go to www.amimental.net/donate. We have a number of ways you could donate. Go ahead and do that. And Bexy knows I'm cooking up something else. Something that's going to be a little bit fun, a little bit nice. It's going to really help the show, I think, a lot. Probably will announce it next week.
And we have Brandy and Kat both in the chat saying hello.
Hello. So, I guess I'll go first because I don't think mine's as long or as deep hitting as what you have, Bexy, if that's okay.
Okay. That's fine.
So basically, as I said, as of right now, I don't have the official diagnosis of bipolar 2, but I'm on meds that are used for bipolar 2. It's just the doctor's a little gun shy because he doesn't want to... It's like the overabundance of ADD and ADHD diagnoses for young boys that happened a while back. But, now they're getting a lot better at, spotting what's just typical boy behavior and what actually is ADD, ADHD. And, of course, nowadays, 1 in 4 boys are autistic. So, yeah. The meds are working pretty well for me. I feel a lot more calm, a lot more relaxed. I'm off of diet soda now. I'm on just iced tea and water, which has helped a ton with my anxiety. It's helped a ton with my irritability. But I am definitely still feeling the effects of this winter coming. I hate that the sun goes down so early. I feel trapped. I feel like the lock is starting to click shut on the cage of SAD, and I'm not going to be able to get out of it until March, April, May, maybe June. And I'd usually start feeling better in March, which is kind of funny considering that the podcast started. The first episode was on the first day of spring this year, totally by happenstance, but it worked out that way. And that's usually when I'm on my upswing anyway, so that was pretty awesome. Yeah, aside from that, just dealing with my wife is having some employment issues right now, so there's some extra pressure on me because right now I'm a stay-at-home dad. Because of the schools being closed down, I have to make sure that my daughter gets on the Zoom on time, gets all of her homework done on time, goes to her speech therapy classes on time, gets into her reading group on time. And it takes a major chunk of the day and a lot of driving, too, for like the speech therapy and a couple other things that she does. And now with employment kind of in the air for my wife, it just adds extra pressure to try to figure out how to get things done. It is what it is. It's stressful as all hell, and it's caused my wife to slide into a depression, too. So now I have to put mine on the back burner when I can to try to help her. Usually after when the kids go to bed, she goes to bed, and that's my time. Of course, it's nighttime, which is the worst time for me to have my time. But at least I still get some time. I was in a marriage before where I got no time, other than when I was going to the bathroom. And then she wondered why I took 2 hours in the bathrooms, because I was taking my time. But, yeah, I was definitely dealing with the personal aspects of wrapping my head around it possibly being bipolar 2. It's not a diagnosis I ever wanted, and I'm not trying to slam anybody. I mean, honestly, no one wakes up in the morning and goes, God, I hope I'm bipolar. So,
No.
Again, it's nice that I have some answers. It's nice that I'm getting the meds. They're definitely helping. I still feel that there's more to go. But the one med that they want me to try, it's Lamictal is its brand name. It's like Lamotrigine or something like that for its generic name. It has a really not cool side effect. 1 in 1,000 people suffer Stevenson-Johnson syndrome when they take this. Usually Stevenson-Johnson syndrome happens when you take aspirin with another medication. And for those of you that don't know what Stevenson-Johnson syndrome is, like I did at the time, I thought I knew what it was, and I was mostly right. Basically what it is that your body starts to break out in a rash, internally and externally. And it can be a blistering rash, and it can be so bad that it could kill you. 1 in 1,000 people on this med suffer Stevenson-Johnson syndrome. Now, it can be as mild as 1 square inch of my skin has a slight rash. But it could also be as severe as I drop dead. So that's one that my doctor's thinking about putting me on. I know people are on it. They say it is a godsend for them. That would be nice. And if I get a slight rash, I'll deal with it. But if I start getting a bad one, hell no, I'm done. I'll get off of that immediately, go to the hospital, be like, yo, I'm having Stevenson-Johnson syndrome because of this med. Do something. At least I know what it is. And my doctor also wanted to make sure I was aware of the risk, because 1 in 1,000 is not a slight chance. That's a pretty significant chance. Now, again, that's a 0.1%. But if you compare it to the mortality rate to COVID, you're more likely to get Stevenson-Johnson syndrome than you are to die of COVID. And COVID is freaking dangerous, especially with that comorbidity. And I know some people are like, well, comorbidity, you can't really say that was a COVID death. Well, in a lot of cases you can, because the COVID basically took that comorbidity and put it in overdrive. That's what it does. That's what makes it so dangerous. Now, again, I think that when they put those totals in, that it should be noted that it was a comorbidity with something else, in case that something else was actually the cause, and they just happened to have COVID. Like, maybe they're infected, but it's still like 24 hours after they've been exposed, and they're just barely infected, and then they die of, say, heart disease, or they die from diabetic shock, or, ketoacidosis, before the COVID even gets a chance. But that's neither here nor there. That's just my 2 cents. But yeah, I am a little bit nervous about it, but I'm optimistic. My next appointment with my doctor will be when we determine my diagnosis and if I'm going to do that or not. So yeah, that's kind of what we're dealing with around here. That and my son and his girlfriend are moving out. So I get my office back. So I'll be able to broadcast from a isolated location, not inside the house, outside of the house, in my backyard.
Yay for the office.
Yeah, yay for the office. But I have to bug bomb the damn thing. Apparently there's ants coming in through all of the outlets. So yeah, gotta fix that.
You know, you can use cucumber to get rid of ants.
Really?
Yeah, the cucumber peels, if you place them around where the ants are coming in, they will avoid it like the plague and they won't come back anymore.
We have all these cucumber peels sticking out all around my outlets. Just take off the faceplate and then just shove all the cucumber peels inside around the wiring and then put the faceplate back on. And then my office will have this nice cucumber smell.
Oh my god. Outlets. But yeah, I know that cucumber actually does work to get rid of ants. I don't know that you'll be able to use it in your situation.
I'll figure something out. I mean, we have a exterminator that comes out every 2 weeks. I'll just talk to him and be like, yo, I need this sprayed too.
Okay, Brandy says, if you don't mind me asking, what kind of testing do they do to determine you have bipolar 2?
Excellent question. Man, I wish Jen was on right now. I forgot to reach out to her. She was the second guest that came on all about bipolar 2. Basically, what bipolar 2, the way they test is, I mean, first off, the real difference between bipolar 1 and bipolar 2, from my understanding, and again, I'm not a professional, is whether you spend more time in a euphoric state or more time in a depressed state. 2 is more the depressed state. And also with bipolar 2, you can have your manic episodes being disguised as, instead of being in this incredible, undestroyable good mood, it could be irritability and combatability. But it also shows depression and anxiety and ADHD or ADD tendencies. So you put all 4 of those together, that's me. That's me to a T. That's me my entire life. When I have my episodes, I'm usually in an argument with someone, and I can't let it go. A part of me inside of me is screaming that I need to stop, that I'm fucking up in the worst possible way, but I can't stop. I need resolution, and I need it now, goddammit. That's where I go, and it's scary. It scares me. I don't like it.
I have seen this in online arguments.
Yeah, I can't let go. When I should just walk away, I double down. When it comes to arguments in the house now, I can get really loud. I can say some really fucked up shit. I mean, Bexy's seen it online. Brandy's heard me say it. Kat's been slightly exposed to it, but yeah. Ivania knows for a fact I could be a nasty asshole when I'm in one of my bouts. And it could last for hours. Before suddenly just something just like snaps or like a switch flips inside my head. And then I see it all clearly. Where I'm wrong, where I fucked up. And I will own up to it, absolutely. But, imagine being married to that. Imagine being in a relationship with that. It's gotta be hell. Because it's always the same thing. It's always petty things. Everything is a fight. That's how I get triggered. And those triggers cause you to go into that manic state. And I've had those times where my mood is just in a great mood. And I'll be like, boy, I'm in a mood today. And I had no idea it was a manic episode. And I will just rifle things. I will tell jokes constantly. I will zing people constantly. I will just be the biggest goofball you've ever seen. And if I overstep my bounds, I just kind of shrug, go, meh, they'll deal with it, and keep going. Even though a part of me is dying inside because I know I just fucked up. So yeah.
So, yeah, Brandy says, yeah, E.T. sometimes got the bad end of that. And Kat says, your wife is a saint.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, E.T. Dude. I am so sorry for some of the shit that I did with E.T. But at the same time, some of that shit was really goddamn funny. Not gonna lie. He kind of brought it upon himself a few times, but I overdid it. I admit it.
And Kat also says, by the way, E, I finally remembered to ask my sister. She's definitely 1.
Got it. Yeah, 1. So she has more manic episodes than depressive episodes. So basically, what the Lamictal will do, in theory, is it's supposed to make the manic episodes not as strong and not last as long, and make the depressive episodes not as deep and not last as long, and to spread them out farther apart so they're fewer and farther in between, to level you out some more, which is great, because if it just flatlined you, bad. Bad.
Oh, yeah. Really bad. I hate that unemotional state that sometimes meds can throw you into.
Every SSRI I've ever been on has emotionally flatlined me to the point where I started lashing out at even the closest people in my life just to see if I could feel something, even remorse.
What's really something... I'm on an SSRI right now. And you know how emotional I can get. Imagine me not on an SSRI.
I'd rather not imagine that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not. They work well for me because of my heightened emotional state anyway. So it's a good thing that it kind of dulls me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to just level you out a little bit, or at least get the edge off.
It helps me quite a bit. Things that I would normally cause me to break into tears. It doesn't even matter if it's a sad thing, a happy thing. It's lessened now, which is really great, because as much as I cry now, I cried way more before. And that's a heck of a way to spend your life when you feel like you're constantly in tears.
Yeah.
And you don't understand why something so trivial or silly can, emotionally knock you down to your knees, and you're just like upset for days over it and days. And
when I was younger, 12, I would say, maybe a little bit younger than that, not by much, rented Legend of Zelda, the gold cartridge for my Nintendo.
Oh, I love that game.
And I made a save file, and I realized I saved over someone else's save file, and I started bawling my eyes out for no reason. I couldn't understand. It's like, it's normal. People do that. You rent the game. That's what you're supposed to do. But I felt like I destroyed somebody else's work, and it hurt.
Oh.
And I didn't understand why. I just started crying. It was weird. Looking back on it now, I understand. I was depressed.
Yeah. It's amazing sometimes the things that will, trigger off an emotional response in me, because sometimes it's something as simple as a friend sending me, a picture of their kids, and the kids are happy and laughing, and my heart fills up with like so much love and hope for like the next generation that I just start crying. That happens often when you send me pictures of your children, by the way.
I know. Or my dog laying on me, or the cat laying on me.
Oh my God. The dog and the cat, when they are just loving on you, and I'm just like, oh, that's my best friend right there.
I got my favorite fur buddies. No, yeah, I know that happens, and I know that but you're getting overwhelmed with a good feeling. So I'm like, hey, you know what? maybe Bexy needs this right now, because she's been going through some tough stuff. So I send it to you.
I love all the good feels. You know that I'm full of them. They explode out of me. I'm annoyingly, one of those people who will annoyingly tell you all the time, if I love you, I love you, because it flies out of me.
The stuff that explodes out of me makes me run to bathrooms, and we'll just leave it at that.
Again, never have I been more grateful to be this far away from you.
And I'm sure the listeners too. Oh, man. But yeah, so that's kind of what's going on in my neck of the woods. There's also some medical stuff with my mother, but I really don't want to go too into that, because that's their life, my mother and my father. But yeah, it affects me. That's my mom, That's my
Right.
dad. I want them to enjoy their retirement and have the best retirement possible. And so far, they're doing great. They're traveling. They got themselves a nice travel trailer. Like, holy crap, it's nice. They own their house. Yeah, they're set, and their house has a beautiful view of the mountain from my hometown. Even though it's like an hour drive away, they're just got this amazing view from their living room. So it's great and it's also their dining room. So it's great when you're sitting in the dining room and just be able to see home.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my story. Not much to it. Like I said, 20 minutes and some change. Now, Bexy, on the other hand.
Oh, wow. This is...
And why she missed an episode.
Yes. Well, the reason I missed the episode was because my mother had been in the hospital. She had been in the hospital for about a week. Hospitalized for high blood pressure, and I'm talking extremely high, like 237 high. Like, the doctors didn't know how she was still alive at that point. It was really, really high. But thankfully we had her taken to the hospital and she got checked out. She spent about a week in the hospital. And when she came home, she was vastly different. She came home with a diagnosis of dementia. And when she came home, she was medically stable, but she was not mentally stable. She was having a lot of issues. Half the time she didn't know who I was. When she did know who I was, she would alternate between being nice and saying some really horrible, tacky things to me that I will not repeat on air.
Basically, the mom that you knew after your dad passed away, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Basically, I was nothing in her eyes at that time. And after she got home from the hospital, I realized, number one, she hadn't been sleeping in the hospital. And number two, she was in some deep state of psychosis because she was hallucinating. She was awake for 2 days straight at home. I don't know how much she slept in the hospital, probably very little. But I know for sure that she was without sleep for at least 2 or 3 days at home, which meant I was without sleep for 2 or 3 days at home. And the night of the podcast, she was seeing children in the house that were not there and animals in the house that were not there. And she was very unstable when she was walking, but insisting on getting up and walking. And so I'm following her through the house the entire night, trying to redirect her, trying to get her to calm down. And she's, obviously upset about the people that she's seeing in the house. And at one point in time, she was chasing after some children with a back scratcher because she was ready to bust their ass. and I'm trying to tell her, Mom, there's no children here. And she's like, well, they're your children and you need to get them under control. And I'm like, Mom, I really don't have any children. You know this.
And I know how much that hurt for you.
Oh yeah. That was a little knife in the gut there, but
little. That was like a katana in the gut.
Yeah, it was nasty, but I had to. In that moment, I had to, just try my best to calm her down. And the night we brought her home from the hospital, the next day, she fell. We ended up back in the emergency room. She was cleared, no concussion, no signs of trauma or damage. And I finally got her back home, and it was another night of her not wanting to sleep and me trying to sleep and not getting any. And it was for about 3 days after she came home from the hospital. It was like my own personal hell. I was so exhausted. I was, just at my absolute limit. And she finally just crashed. And she went to sleep. And I remember thinking, please, please, please let this woman stay asleep, because I desperately need sleep. The minute I knew she was asleep, I put Adam to bed. I went to bed myself. And I said, I had my door open so I could hear anything. And I was just, thankfully she slept all night. And part of the next day, and she woke up with no memory of what had happened. She can't remember it. She doesn't remember being in the hospital. But we got her, she got some meds to help with the dementia. And they seem to be doing a wonderful job, actually, because she's back to normal. She's back to my mom.
That's awesome.
She's a little weaker than normal, and she's always had some chronic pain issues, so she's been hurting a lot. And I keep telling her, I'm like, Mama, you were all over the place. Like you were sprier than I've seen you in a while. in that state, and she just doesn't remember that at all.
Probably what weakened her is that she overexerted herself. That'd be my thoughts.
Yeah, probably. No sleep, and she would barely eat or drink anything. I know in the hospital she barely ate or drank anything. So I'm in my head, and her primary physician agrees with me. After we went to see him, the combination of her high blood pressure is what set it off, and then she would not eat or drink very much in the hospital, so that added dehydration to it, and then being completely exhausted from not sleeping. All those things kind of combined together and made like this big superstorm in her brain, where she was completely... There was one point in time where I was seriously considering having to place her into some kind of care facility, because if I wasn't going to be able to sleep, I don't know how I was going to function in the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And
right.
it was scary. And it was one of the worst things I've ever had to think about. I don't want that to happen.
Oh, no one... okay, well, I'll correct it. Most people don't want to put their parents into a care facility. There are those out there that do, but those are...
I'm not knocking anybody who has to make that decision.
No, definitely not.
And decides to do that, because I've worked in those facilities. I've worked on units with Alzheimer's and dementia patients. I know what people go through.
And I mean,
when they have to do something like that to one of their loved ones.
Right. And I mean, let's face it, there is a point that like dementia and Alzheimer's and all that could get to where you cannot physically keep up and take care of them and make sure they stay safe. And they have to go into a care facility, or you have to bring a staff into your house.
Yes. I mean, right now, as some extra help, we have a nurse who's coming out to check on her, and she has a physical therapist right now that's coming out to help her, strengthen her legs and stuff like that, so that she can walk better. And she's dependent on her walker, and she realizes she has to use that all the time. But this is to help her become a little more steady in her steps.
Right.
Hopefully to avoid more falls, because the first few days she was home from the hospital, I picked her up off the floor, I think 3 times.
Sounds as stubborn as me.
Yeah, very much so. There was at one point in time where I'm like, she's like, I don't want you to touch me. I just want to get up off this floor. And I said, then let me help you and stop acting like a child.
Hopefully that was when your mom was your mom, so that way it hit home a little bit.
No, she wasn't quite right yet. I got a very nasty comeback for that.
Yeah. And we do have some comments in here. When you started out, Kat, was, when you said dementia, she just went, "Oh, Bexy," and sent you hugs. Yeah. And then start talking about dehydration, which, yeah, I mean, dehydration, sleep deprivation, and dementia, yeah, that's the perfect storm. It really is.
It really is.
And then Brandy said...
And people do not realize this, but if you're... And I don't say this to be gross or anything, but just from experience, if you're dealing with someone who has dementia and suddenly, they seem to change and get... a lot harder to deal with, or it seems their dementia is progressing really, really suddenly, seriously, have their doctor check them out for a UTI. A UTI will set off dementia like nothing else.
Yep. Yeah, my wife told me about that one. Fortunately, she's a nurse. Now, she's an OR nurse. But, yeah. Still, it's stuff that they teach you. And also, Brandy was saying dementia is so hard to deal with. I could not imagine being a full-time caretaker to someone with dementia. Two of my aunts and one of my uncles really was my grandmother's caretaker full-time. All three of them really had to take turns until finally they had to put her in a home because it was just too tough. She got too brittle, too delicate. And it was sad. The last 3 times I saw my grandmother, I don't think she knew who I was the entire time. I'm the first grandkid.
Yeah. It's really hard to watch someone that you care about, slipping away. And I'm really thankful that it seems like just this, at least as far as my mom with the medicine and everything, she's doing a lot better. She still has some memory issues, but she's not getting that into that manic state that she was in, which I'm so grateful for.
Right. And I get that feeling quite personally myself. My mom, that she had a traumatic brain injury around Christmas time some years back. I would say that she's, on a good day, she's about 90%, 95% who she used to be. On a bad day, about 80% of who she used to be. And I don't, as much as I miss the 100%, and I really do. I mean, I'm always going to miss that. I don't dwell on it because 80 to 95% is a hell of a lot better than 0%.
Exactly.
She almost died from that injury. And so I am just thankful for any little bit that I got back of my mom.
Yeah, I'm really, really thankful that my mom's mental state has come back to what her normal had been before.
Which was, from my understanding, the mom that you always wanted.
Yeah. I mean, it was amazing to me how she changed as she got older because, I didn't always feel like I was appreciated, but I do now.
Oh, not gonna lie. I hated my dad. It wasn't until probably 5-6 years after I moved out that my dad started really turning around. And even before that, though, there was when I was getting married my first time, he had changed so much so fast and started becoming the dad that I had always wanted. The loving, supportive, curious about my life, wanting to know why things interest me that interest me, and to accept that my interests aren't always his interests. I made him my best man.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I know that feeling of having that. Oh my God, I finally had the relationship I've always wanted. It sucks that it took you so much longer to get it, but I mean, you got it. Some people never get it.
Yeah,
ever.
I know. I'm thankful that it is what it is now. I mean, it's it it's a whole different feeling. I mean, I know, in life, not everybody is going to like you, and that's okay. It happens that way. You don't have to like everybody, but
Not everybody likes me?
yeah, no, sorry to bust your ego there a little bit, dear.
You know what?
Unless
I
you're
need
the
evidence.
exception to the rule.
I need the evidence.
Well, let's just call you the exception and move on. I'm, I realize not everybody is gonna like you, and that would have bothered me a lot in my younger days because I took everything so personally. I didn't know how not to. If somebody were to tell me I just don't like you, I would be really, really upset about that because I would be like, I didn't even do anything. What causes this? I wouldn't be able to wrap my head around it. Now, if somebody were to say, hey, I really don't care for you, I'd be like, okay, fine, your loss.
Exactly. You still there? We got a disconnection. I'm wondering if that's me. Anybody else hear me okay?
Uh-oh.
There you are.
What was that? Did I
I'm-
cut out?
Yeah, I'm not sure who dropped, if it was you or me. I saw signal the whole time. But we
I'm
are
not sure if everybody heard everything.
we're still live. We got an oops from
We're
Kat.
still here. Oops, yeah.
Oopsie poopsie.
Well, I was just rambling anyway, so.
No, I mean, but you're right about what you were saying there. Not every. It's like, you can never please all the people, ever.
Never.
And I just took a glance at the statistics to see where things were geolocation as of today. Yeah, United States is at 68.82, New Zealand exactly 20%, with Auckland, New Zealand 12.94% of the listenership. Like,
wow.
Yeah. And, I haven't done this before, so I'm just going to kind of let everybody know we are international at this point. We have people in the UK, and this is just the last 30 days. United Kingdom, Norway, Sweden, Greece, Kazakhstan, India, South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand.
Wow.
Yeah, Canada popped up for a little bit, but I haven't seen Canada in a while. I tell you, Canada isn't real.
Canada isn't real? Well, well, that's where triangles come from, so.
Oh, God. Wow. And that brings back the pineapple penguin pants.
Hey, I still have pineapple penguin pants. I have, well, not together. I have penguin pants and pineapple pants.
You know how much fun it would be to have that whole crew in the chat with us right now?
Oh, my God.
Although it'd be like a 90% goofing off, or a 50% goofing off, 50% bitch about Rick.
Yes. Because you can't, the ball is not red. And there's no such thing as a triangle. And I'd have to go spout out some random cat facts.
And shower thoughts.
And shower thoughts, yes.
All right, so it's a big inside joke. When we first kind of got together as a group, there's Bexy, me, and a few others, and some of them pop up here and there in the chat. We were really big in discussing and debating philosophy. And topics that were very common was a red ball. Like, if you have a red ball in your hand in natural lighting, and you walk into a room and close the door, and it is literally pitch black, 0 photons of light flying around, the ball is still in your hand, can you be sure that the ball will be red when you leave the room and go back into the natural lighting? There are people out there that genuinely believe you can't be sure.
I never understood that.
I still don't. Also, the same one with the this is I understand in calculus that they do this because whatever the reasons are, I don't know the reasons, but I can also kind of understand because it makes the formulas work. Is half the distance to something or like half of a number, if you divide it in half over and over and over and over and over again, do you ever reach zero? Literally, the answer is no, but in calculus, the answer is yes. I don't get it. At what point of half of something becomes nothing? And these were the things that we discussed. And it was interesting. And Rick, man, he just...
Oh, nobody could beat a dead horse.
The best quote I ever heard, I don't remember who said it. I want to say that it was Thomas Jefferson, but I can't be 100% certain, is to try to be rational with someone who has abandoned all rationality is like trying to administer medicine to the dead. And that was dealing with him.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what? We haven't done this before. Anybody in the chat, if you want to jump on and maybe give a quick share, I mean, we have time. We're only 40 minutes in.
Definitely have time.
Yeah, if you want, just, find us on Skype, reach out to, let me know. I know how to DM every person that's in chat right now that I can see. I see you. But yeah, I mean, everybody's got something. That's the thing. Whether you deal with a mental health crisis for a week, or you're perpetually depressed your entire life, like me.
And me.
Yay.
I mean, there are some other things going on with in my life too. I, like you, have officially given up all caffeine products. I don't even drink iced tea anymore. So I have gone to no caffeine in hopes of boosting my kidney function up.
Good.
So far, so good. I feel better. So that's always something.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Now me, if I were to quit caffeine, there's a line from Archer that comes to mind, but I think it'd be worse for me. I don't think that the collective migraine from the caffeine withdrawals would literally kill me. I think it'd cause my head to explode.
Oh, there were a couple days where I thought I was going to just bite everybody's heads off, and it was bad. Like the withdrawal was serious. I still miss coffee. Like, I think I will go to my grave if I never get to have a caffeinated beverage again. I will go to my grave craving coffee because
So Bexy,
coffee is life.
What do you want for your last meal? Coffee! A pot of coffee, 10 cups.
All the coffee.
Yeah, but what about food? Just the coffee. You think I'm going to be able to eat?
It's like, bring me coffee. Hot coffee, cold coffee, iced coffee, frappuccino, coffee, ice cream, everything coffee. I'll take a piece of tiramisu on top of that.
You know what? Just give me a handful of beans while I wait.
Chocolate-covered espresso beans, yes.
Oh, God, those are so good. But,
oh, God, I know.
Man, do they wire me.
Oh, my God, but they're so amazing.
Like, most times, caffeine really doesn't do a lot to me. It just it keeps me awake and keeps the headache away. But you give me chocolate-covered espresso beans, and I am bouncing off the walls.
Oh.
I become the great Cornholio.
Oh, that's it. When I come to visit, we're going to get some chocolate-covered espresso beans, and we're going to play Mortal Kombat, damn it.
Oh, hell yeah. Sub-Zero's going to win, because my fingers are going to go so fast you won't even know what's coming. I might set my controller on fire from hitting it so fast.
Oh, God.
You know what? Screw it. I'm going to go ahead and just drop what I'm working on. Because, I mean, we don't have... What are we going to talk about? We kind of covered everything.
Yeah, we kind of did.
So, yeah, for the people that are listening and the people in the chat, I opened up a Teespring store. And we're designing some shirts and stuff. Get some merchandise.
It's going to be awesome.
I definitely want to have a couple of t-shirts. One for sure, the logo that we have, with it saying, come listen and be heard. Because, I mean, face it, I've had some of the people that have listened to the podcast reach out to me and say that even though they may not be diagnosed or they have a diagnosis, hearing these stories, they feel heard, even if they're not the ones sharing, which is what inspired the come listen and be heard. I'm also thinking about another one that just says, mental health is health. Stuff like that, just nothing, just like really simple messages, really easy to glance at and see and recognize. Things that, people need to hear.
Right.
I mean, seriously, mental health is health is like such a big one.
And it's okay to not be okay.
That's another one I want to make. So yeah. And I don't know what all Teespring does. I know they definitely do t-shirts. I set up the account already. I'm going to be spending a good chunk of the day tomorrow working on it. So hopefully it'll be up in the next couple of days. Really.
Yeah, I know. I don't know exactly what Teespring does, but I know like Redbubble does different stuff. Like you could get pillows or notebooks or stickers or...
And I've seen stuff like, coffee mugs and stuff like that from Teespring as well. But their big thing is, of course, t-shirts.
Right.
And I mean, there's also like Cafe Press. But I went with Teespring because freaking everybody uses Teespring. There's got to be a reason for it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like every big podcast out there, YouTube channel, everything. It's always, come to my Teespring, come to my Teespring, come to my Teespring. So I'm like, okay, I'll make a Teespring. Yeah, see, shopping bags, long sleeve t-shirts. Thank you, Kat. Yeah, so we'll just go ahead and start slapping things together. Definitely let us know what you want.
Oh, yeah, definitely. If you have ideas, spit them out.
Yeah. And it'll help to fund the channel, help this podcast, help us to grow, help to build up other things that, I always have some irons in the fire, and Bexy isn't always aware of them. Some of them are just something I want to do. Oh, good. Kat just said Teespring has good quality stuff. And that's what I've heard, too.
They actually do. I've ordered shirts from Teespring before, so I really like them. They're usually really, really durable. I've ordered from some companies before, and the shirts are so thin and so flimsy, like they'll rip really easily. And
not to name any companies that we've ever heard of, but there's this one from a character who plays an angel who does this treasure hunt thing, a scavenger hunt. Their shirts are basically lint that's printed on.
I love that you knew exactly who I was talking about.
I mean, greatest cause in the world, awful products.
Yeah.
And when I say they're basically lint with printing on them, you wash it once, go through the dryer, and you have a rag. I've seen it. It is awful. And they cost about the same price as the good stuff.
Yeah. I will have to say that the teddy bear that I got through them is actually good quality. And the shirt on it is better quality than the shirts that are made for humans.
Probably the same amount of material, just stretched thin.
Just compressed.
Yeah, they just take the teddy bear shirts and stretch them out. Definitely what I dropped was enough for the people that have dealt with it to know, right. And not enough to hopefully get me in trouble.
Well, here's hoping.
Again, greatest cause in the world. I think everyone should participate. Just don't bother getting their products.
No.
So yeah, we definitely want to get some merchandise out there. I think it'll help. Also, if people are wearing t-shirts, people are going to wonder. So definitely the one that says come listen and be heard will have the www.amimental.net on it. Because we want people to be able to look at it and go, oh, hey. And not everything's going to have that. Obviously. Because some t-shirts, it could get annoying if everything has it. But where it makes sense, we'll do it. Because, duh, we want to grow.
Oh, exactly. This is so much more than just a little hobby. This has become so much bigger than just, something to do on a Thursday night.
Yeah, I mean, there are people who literally schedule their week around this. I've had people tell me, like, my Thursdays are booked because of the podcast. And thank you, all of you, for that do that. Seriously.
Absolutely amazing to hear.
And that's the reason that I'm pushing to keep growing and make more, and make this a community, make it more than just a podcast. I mean, the day I heard I saved a life blew my mind. And if we could save more lives, that's awesome. That's awesome. And that's not not one of the goals of the podcast. That's gravy. That's the best gravy on earth.
It's the most amazing thing when somebody looks at you and says, "I'm still here because of something you said." Or "I'm still here because, your story resonated with me and it made me realize that there's more to it, that I can go on. I can do this."
Exactly. Or, just hearing that it does get better, that ending my life would be a permanent solution to a temporary problem, and that life does get better. I've never seen it myself, but your story resonated with me, and you're saying it gets better, and I'm going to put faith in that and hope that it does.
Yeah.
It's hearing that's a little bit scary, because if they don't see it, but if they don't see it soon enough, I guess would be the way to put it. But so far, so good. Every person that's told me that stuff is still here. Yeah. Oh, how did I forget? I was on Orange Lounge Radio on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. We still have to talk about that.
We have to talk about that. Yeah, so they opened up with me as a guest, and the way they do it is that they actually do all their streaming through Twitch, and it's all part of the VOG networks. It's an acronym for Voice of the Geek, or Voice of Geeks, which is great. They actually have a schedule. They have like a number of podcasts that play, and they take turns. So like, it's normally 6 o'clock start time. We didn't start till like 6:07, 6:10. Because we had to wait for the previous show to end. But yeah, went on Orange Lounge Radio. Their whole thing is about video games. And they'd been wanting to talk about mental health and video games and the pandemic. And I just happened to be in the realm of mental health and a gamer, and happened to know a co-host. So we went on the show. It went really good. We talked about how gaming can be a positive influence with mental health, how it can be a detriment to mental health, how to be careful with those. We talked about when you work from home, how you have to have some kind of switch, whether it's a physical change or a symbolic change or just a mental switch to go between work mode and home mode. Because like if you work on the same computer that you game on, after the end of the workday, you don't want to game. It takes away your gaming system. It really does. And vice versa, stuff like that. We talked about a lot of that. I mean, that's really what we focused on. And we also talked about that Dark Sakura, a.k.a. Jamie, is going to be on this show next week, which is going to be great.
I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to it. She's awesome. She is so awesome. And I will say, politically, we stand about as polar opposite as you could possibly imagine. But I consider her a really good friend. We just don't talk politics. We know better. But, again, we both also understand we want what's best for everyone. We both want the same end goals. It's just the getting there. And that's the real... I mean, when you think about politics, that's what it is. And it really sucks when people get tribal over it. Because you're getting tribal over getting to the same result? Seriously? Of course, the same result meaning best for everyone. That doesn't necessarily mean what methods are best for everyone. But yeah, so no, the episode went great. I was on for about an hour. I still have to go back and listen to it. Just been really busy with the kids and all that, so maybe I'll find time tomorrow to listen to it while I work on the Teespring store. But yeah, no, it was awesome. And they invited us back in January, hoping that we could do both Bex and me. We'll see how things go. Of course, it also depends on their bandwidth because they have 2 co-hosts and a host, so there's already 3 people. Might get crowded with 5. We'll see. Although the one guy, he just sat there and just gamed the entire time, playing a retro game. So I don't think he said more than 2 words the entire hour I was on. But no, that was awesome. Now, obviously, I'm not expecting a huge audience tonight. It's the final debate. But the way I look at it is most people have already decided who they're voting for. Most of the undecided voters have probably already figured it out by now. If they haven't, they're not going to until they're standing in front of that booth, and then they decide. And you know what? No matter what happens, we'll still be here. We'll make it. Even if even if you think that the world's crashing down, it's not. You know, I've been through some presidents I absolutely despise. I've been through some presidents that I thought weren't too bad. I haven't had a president that I truly loved, but survived. Still here. We'll make it. We're making it now. We'll make it.
Exactly.
And no, I'm not saying who I voted for. That's a different discussion.
That's better left for another place and time, I think.
That's a different podcast entirely.
Oh.
Although I am kicking around the idea, and I'm just going to throw it out there now. I am kicking around an idea of in the spring, around the 1-year anniversary of Am I Mental, of kicking off a weekly comedic side of the news podcast, lighthearted. Probably middle afternoon. Just me, maybe a co-host. I don't know yet. Definitely going to have just the wacky crap that's happening in the news and things that are maybe serious, but we can look at a little more lightheartedly. You know, instead of, it's the end of the world! Well, no. There's always something to laugh about.
Always. I mean, I really believe you got to find humor in life, because I can survive with humor and music and, you know, my good friends, and it's going to be okay.
And brisket.
And brisket. That's a not so subtle hint there.
Hey, no, I've had my first brisket finally.
I know.
Oh my god, it was so good.
Now I have to get you here so I can take you to the place that makes the deep fried brisket bites.
Yeah, that I've got to try. That I don't care if that's going to cause me to have a heart attack and drop dead on the spot. I'll die happy.
They are so good.
And then when you come here, I got to take you to the place where the burgers have what's called a cheese skirt, and you're supposed to take the toothpick and shoot it into the ceiling.
Oh yeah, that sounds like fun.
Oh god, it is great. And I like everyone in this area that has ever been to any one of these restaurants knows exactly the ones I'm talking about. They are epic. Yes, Kat. Deep fried brisket bites.
Yes. Oh my god, yes.
It sounds borderline brisket donut holes, doesn't it?
It's kind of that. I mean, they are just chunks, square chunks of brisket that have been dipped in almost. It's a very light. It's not quite a tempura batter, but it's very similar.
Oh, nice.
And they've been deep fried, and they serve them with this ranch barbecue sauce that is just amazing.
Okay, I just want the ranch barbecue sauce. Bring some bottles home.
It's really, really, really good, and it's just this little place. it sits behind a gas station, and they sell chopped beef sandwiches. Like, you can buy 4 of them for $5, and it's really good chopped beef.
Well, I mean, you guys are in Texas. You guys already have all the beef. Maybe not all of it, but you got a lot of it.
I mean, we go in there and order a bunch of sandwiches and a few family size sides and sit down, and like, it'll be me and, you know, like 4, 5, 6 other people, and we just sit and talk and laugh, and it's a great little place.
Can't say about the barbecue ranch. Put a straw in that bottle, right? Oh, nice. Yeah, right there, Bob Mazzelli. So SNL and Dennis Miller doing the news was the absolute best skit. Do it. Oh, yeah. Dennis Miller's news was freaking phenomenal. Like, seriously. Although the stuff he said then would get you an angry Bob now. Oh, God. Yeah, no, it's got to be done. There's no one doing it right now that I know of. I mean, there's probably some podcasts out there doing it, but I want to do it. I can find some funny stuff. And I'm not gonna do, like, you know, the Daily Show or stuff like that. I mean, that they're so politicized. I'm not gonna do the politics. I spend enough time dealing with politics, you know, in my personal life when I'm online. I don't want to do politics on the air.
No. I try to stay out of all of that because it is not in my happy place.
I'm thinking in 4 years, I'm going to be doing this podcast at a remote location. I'm going to take a month vacation, get the hell out of this nation after I turn in my ballot, and just wait till the election's over and then come back. So, anyone know how Tasmania is this time of year?
I do not know.
Yeah, no, I have a few other podcast ideas that I'd like to start running now. And that's assuming that the podcasts start making enough money to validate and, you know, God, what's the exact word I'm looking for? Be able to justify why I'm doing podcasts for a living and not actually, you know, doing another job. I think it would be awesome. That's what I really want to do. Like, I would love to be able to spend the bulk of my time just working on stuff for this particular podcast. Other ones, sure, too, but this one in particular. Okay, Bob. No more food
Sorry,
talk.
Bob.
My tummy is growling. That's why you're supposed to just bring a slice of pizza with you when you listen.
See, I usually run into the problem of I haven't eaten dinner yet, and oh crap, it's podcast time. I beat it tonight. I actually ate before.
Yeah, I was sitting down in the living room watching one of my kids' favorite cartoons. Just finished eating. I'm like, got that whole full belly. Oh, yeah, feeling good. Glance at my watch. Oh, okay, it's 5:47. Oh, shit! I got a podcast!
Yeah. I had a very similar reaction tonight. My phone started ringing, and I looked at it, and I went, fuck, podcast!
Yeah, so this episode almost didn't happen. I've set an alarm now going forward. Because usually it's all I have on my mind all Thursday long. But today has just been such an unusual day that my mind has been propelled into Saturday.
I have had a very... It's been a very good day, but it's been a very strange day as well. So, I mean, I've been in a absolutely great mood. For the first time in days, I actually don't have any, like, physical pain or anything like that. I feel really great. And I've just been, you know, enjoying that. I don't get days like this very often.
I know you don't. I'm glad you got to enjoy it. And Bob, I hope I didn't thrash your last name. Yeah, Kat, nice. No host and no co-host. Yeah, almost. Yeah, there's been a couple of times where like there's a technical issue, like my apps are just sitting there not launching. I'm like, crap, restart my computer. I was like, because I usually try to reach out 20 minutes before the episode starts, just for those kinds of reasons. And also it's like installing updates. I'm like, well, I didn't tell you to install updates, computer. I had you do that 2 hours ago for a reason.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm really always grateful for days like today when, there's. I don't quite know how to describe it to somebody who doesn't go through something like this. When you live every day and there's always some kind of pain going through your body, and you do what you have to do because you have to do it, and you bury it, or you try to get by with medications and things like that to make it easier. And then when you get a day and it's just like everything in your body decides to agree with you, it's not setting everything on fire for once, because that's what the pain is akin to, for me at least, is something my body doesn't like, something, there's trauma or damage or anything, and my body's response is kill it with fire.
I just can't imagine that.
It's not a fun way to go through life, but I do my best every day to just, to be as positive as I can, to not take my pain out on everybody that doesn't deserve it, because it's not their fault. It has nothing to do with the people around me or anything like that. I try most days. It's an ouch, I'm trying to get through this kind of mood. And sometimes, do you guys know what the spoon theory is?
Other than there is no spoon?
No, not that there is no spoon. Okay, so this is an analogy that a lot of chronic pain people will use. They'll say every day you start out with a set amount of spoons. Let's just say 12.
Okay.
And you have 12 spoons in your hand, and everything you do that day costs you a spoon. So maybe getting up out of bed is really hard, so that costs you 2 spoons. So now you're down to 10 for the day.
Oh, crap.
Yes. And then say, okay, you're up out of bed and you have to make breakfast for your family. Well, that's a spoon. And everything you do, you have to consider how many spoons you have left in your hand. And if you're going to have enough to make it through the day, or if you're, going to be borrowing spoons from the next day, which, that you'll often hear people who deal with chronic pain say that, I've run out of spoons, or I had to borrow some spoons from tomorrow to get through today. And by the end of the week, you're sitting at Friday and you realize you've borrowed so much, you have no spoons, and you just completely shut down.
Damn.
And this is one of the best ways that I know of to kind of explain what chronic pain patients go through. That's why sometimes when you're scrolling through like Twitter or other social media sites, and you'll see somebody use the hashtag Spoonie, it usually means they're a chronic pain patient, and this is their reality. This is how we deal with things. We borrow strength from tomorrow to finish today sometimes, and it never ends out in our favor. So, today I'm happy to say that it's the end of the day and I still have all my spoons.
Basically, today was the unlimited spoon day.
Yes, pretty much.
That's awesome.
I didn't do anything extraordinary or anything out of the ordinary. I don't tend to push myself anymore on days that I feel good, because I know if I do that, if I go above and beyond, I'm going to be hurting later. And it's not worth it in the end. So it's nice to have these days.
And of course, there's going to be those people that aren't chronic pain patients like me, for example, although I'm never going to be one that will say this, where people might say, well, what do you mean that it's not worth it? I mean, every day that's a good day. You should push it, blah, blah, blah. Well, look long term. I'm just going, if I'm trying to walk a mile in your shoes right now, and I'm thinking, yeah, you wake up the next day when you normally have 12 spoons, you wake up with 6.
Exactly.
Because you overexerted on the day that you felt like you had unlimited spoons. You felt like it, but you didn't.
Right. And that's something that even I've had to learn. Because in the past, after I got my diagnosis and things like that, I would have one of these days where I'd be like, oh man, I feel great. And I'd be like, today's the day we're going to do blah, 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 blah. And I'd have this long list of things. And I'd feel good all day, and I'd do what I wanted to do and do extra things, and then wake up the next morning in complete agony, realizing that I didn't actually have unlimited spoons to use that day, and I pretty much used up stuff for, the next 2 or 3 days because I overdid it.
And Kat said that she's happy that you're having a good day, and thank you for that explanation. And seriously, from me as well, thank you for that explanation. I never would have thought to put it that way. I feel that I have a much deeper understanding now than I ever had. And I've known you for years. I've known, the others in our group, and I feel like the odd man out because I'm not a chronic pain patient, and it seems like everybody in that group is. Like, how the hell did I get into this?
Yeah, there's a lady who actually came up with this. It's The Spoon Theory is a personal story by Christine Miserando. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And she lives with lupus, and when she was trying to explain to her friend who really wanted to understand the realities of living with a chronic illness, and she says, this is a quote from her book, "As I tried to gain my composure, I glanced around the table for help or guidance, or at least stall for time to think. I was trying to find the right words. How do I answer a question I never was able to answer for myself? How do I explain every detail of every day being affected and give the emotions a sick person goes through with clarity? I could have given up, cracked a joke like I usually do, and changed the subject. But I remember thinking, if I don't try to explain this, how could I ever expect her to understand? If I can't explain this to my best friend, how could I explain it to anyone else in the world? I had to at least try." And she goes on to explain how she gathered spoons and used them to represent finite units of energy, and then walked her friend through the normal day, taking the spoons away. And by the end of the day, her friend wasn't able to do as much as she wanted to. And when she realized that Miserando went through this every single day, she started crying, and she understood how precious time and energy is for people with chronic pain and chronic illnesses, and how few spoons she had the luxury of spending. It's really a great theory, and a very easy way to explain how people with chronic illnesses function, because it's really the truth. It's like
just looking at my family and friends that have chronic illnesses. It makes so much sense now. Their behaviors, everything they did, why it was such a big deal for them to show up for a party.
Yeah, I see. I have people in my life who still don't fully understand that, because they think, oh, well, you're young and you should be able to do this and have all this energy. And I'm telling them, I know I don't look my age. I realize that, you know, because most people see my picture and they look at me and they go, "There's no way you're 40."
Right?
And I'm like, yeah, okay, you know, I don't look my age, but you don't know what goes on inside.
Like, I'm 40. I don't look it. Now, every year that's the delta between what I look like and my actual age, add that to my actual age. That's how I feel.
Yeah. I mean, people are telling me, "Oh, you look like you could be, you know, in your early 30s." And I'm like, "Well, thank you for that, but nah, I'm a lot older."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which, you know, it's a blessing, honestly, in a lot of ways, looking younger than you actually are. But it does come with its own set of headaches. Just like anything, it has its own set of headaches. I look younger than I am. I act younger than I am. But I tell you what, my body tells me exactly how old I am all the time.
Oh my God, do I know that feeling?
Yeah, so it's like,
I mean, I'm really offended with as much as I snap and crackle that I don't glow when I walk. I sound like a freaking glow stick.
I sound like a bowl of Rice Krispies. Man. Well, I mean, don't know that there's much else to really cover. I mean, thank you, Bexy, for that. Like, I think that you did for me personally, you put into greater perspective and gave me more understanding in just like 20, 30 minutes of your explanation than I've had in the entirety of the time that I've known you and other chronic pain patients.
It's something I can't believe I haven't actually discussed that with you before, or it hadn't, you know, been brought up before. I feel like I should have mentioned it back on the show when I was talking about, you know, the being diagnosed and everything like that. But I had so much on my mind that night, it kind of just slipped out of there. And when I remembered it tonight, I was like, okay, this is something that I don't know if everyone has ever even heard of it.
Yeah, no. And I know from, of course, doing my own full episodes where I'm in the hot seat, so to speak, there's things that you'll want to say, but there's just so much to go saying and going through that. No, it just, you can't get everything.
Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't all get out. But
did you read Bob's comment?
My name has been butchered way worse.
Oh, no. About the snapping, crackling, and popping. It sounds like, or sounding like Legos.
Apparently the chat has stopped working for me. I have not gotten any new notifications.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, Bob was saying, or sounding like Legos breaking apart. Oh, no. Whoa. We just lost Bexy. It still shows that I'm broadcasting. She's calling. What happened?
My phone went stupid.
Okay.
It just froze for a minute and disconnected the call. Sorry.
That's all right. And then Kat just said also, I'm going to ask my sister how many spoons she has one of these days. She's getting ready to move from Colorado to upstate New York.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why anyone would ever move to New York, but I'm a West Coaster, so I don't understand moving to the East Coast for anybody ever or living there. Hurricanes, humidity, no thank you. I'll take my earthquakes, thank you very much, and my dry heat.
I'll stick here in Tornado Alley. I'm good.
And I'll
tornadoes I can deal with.
I could deal with wildfires, I could deal with the earthquakes, I could deal with the floods. I could go a couple hours to the east and I could deal with blizzards, wildfires. I'll deal with all that. Humidity? Nope.
Eric's all, no.
Hey, name drop.
Oops, sorry. I always do it.
I do have an update from KZ, though.
Oh, yes, let's hear that.
Yeah, so he just posted today that he has accepted the job. He found a place up in Washington, and now it's just getting the family to move up there. So they're set. They're doing it. He got his job. He got his dream job.
Nice. Congratulations, KZ.
I wouldn't. Well, he wouldn't. He said it's not exactly his dream job, but it's the step to his dream job, which is taking over his father's business. But in order to do that, he needs this job and the experience. And here's why Kat brought it up about the spoons and all that. It's because of all the work about, packing, moving, and the chronic pain and everything.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely hard. I have avoided moving. I have been in the house that I am in since 2008. Yeah.
Yeah, I went from...
There's part of me that wants to move. And then there's the part of me that knows that moving will absolutely just devastate me for probably 2 weeks.
It's meanwhile, I remember only living in 2 houses in my life from my earliest memory until I was 18. We only moved one time, and it was my kindergarten or first grade year. And then we wound up in that house for my parents stayed there for 18 years, renting the entire time. But then after that, I have moved, oh God, so many times. I've decided the next time I have to move, I'm just going to torch my shit and buy new stuff. I'm just done lugging stuff around. Be like, I got my computer, I got my photographs, I got my music, got my kids' favorite stuff. The rest of it's going in a pile and burning. Okay, so Kat was saying her sister has rheumatoid arthritis, type 1 diabetes, and bipolar 1.
Oh, wow.
Ouch.
Yeah, I had a sister with rheumatoid arthritis, and I know how badly that can affect someone. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, when Arthur comes to visit.
Yeah.
Uncle Arthur is what my grandparents always called it. Cass agrees that's the way to do it. Torch it all. Hey, material things are ephemeral.
Material things. I had a friend who today we were talking about someone was moving and packing, and he was like, "Yeah, nope, leave it all behind and buy new stuff."
All right.
I was like, okay.
And Kat says, I have OA.
Osteoarthritis.
Eesh.
Yeah.
I was going to say, what, ornery asshole?
No, that's you.
Yeah, you got me. We're guildmates.
I was like, yeah, that's you. Definitely you.
They said it's not chronic, though.
Oh, well, thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
But still, ouch.
I don't want to deal with that stuff. It's KZ has Crohn's disease, and he gets kidney stones. He's younger than me. I've never had a kidney stone. I don't ever want one. I've never had gallbladder issues. I don't want it. I don't want any of that stuff. I don't want arthritis. Man, I feel so blessed to be in the kind of condition that I'm in, especially with the shit I've done and consumed. I'm surprised I'm as healthy as I am. Seriously. I don't know. I must have won some genetic lottery. Not the one that makes you a world-class athlete, but damn, I survived some shit.
Yeah.
And Bob was just saying, leave it all. I'm just finishing an apartment clean out. So much stuff.
Oh, gosh. I'm not looking forward to, I am about to clean out my bedroom because I'm getting a brand new bed on Monday.
Ooh. So, yeah, we got a brand new bed just over a month ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'm not going to drop the brand name of the mattress that we got, but it's one of those ones that's pretty highly touted. Not really a fan, but they did say because of the type of mattress it is, it takes a couple of months to actually break in, and we actually have a 1-year trial period. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and see if we can break this thing in.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I just maybe throw it out in front of a steamroller to break it in.
Well, I'm I'm looking forward to a brand new bed, and this is just it's just one of those little things that makes me happy. Is like, oh yay, it's time for new stuff. And I have no issue buying new stuff for like my house. If it comes to buying new stuff for me, and then I'm like, yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, and see, that's depression.
Yeah, I know.
Kat said, have your kids jump on it. No, it's a brand new frame too. I don't want the frame damaged. They're not
Right?
going to, let alone the fact that they might fall off and get damaged themselves, but I don't want the frame damaged. No, actually, what's kind of cool is that we got it's more of a lifted frame, so the mattress sits as if it's on a box spring, but it's not. There's so much room underneath that our yellow lab sleeps under the bed, and our kids constantly go under the bed and then turn on the TV and watch shows from under the bed. They think it's the coolest thing ever.
Oh my god, that's so cute.
And not even lying, I can get under the bed without hurting myself in any way. No stretching, no hurting, nothing. Just get down and crawl under. I'm like, hey, this is kind of cool. I haven't been under a bed in years.
Under the bed fort.
Yep.
That's so cute.
Yeah, the only thing is that, it's like there's a part of me that goes, they should have a camp out underneath there. But I'm also afraid they're going to have a nightmare, sit straight up, smack their head in the bottom of the frame, cause us to jump as well, because something just bumped us from underneath.
Oh god, that would be horrible. Then y'all are startled and the kids are screaming.
Oh, and I'm going to have a product review here pretty soon. Laura, damn, I just dropped my wife's name. Holy crap.
Oh man.
My wife bought a sonic boom alarm clock. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this thing.
I never have.
Well, just to put it in perspective of how loud this thing is, it gets to 113 decibels.
Oh my god.
By comparison, 110 decibels is the sound of a live sporting event or a rock concert.
Oh my lord.
120 decibels is the sound of a jet taking off. This is in between there.
And you need such a loud alarm clock?
Apparently, because we sleep through our alarms.
Ah.
And this thing also rumbles the bed. I'm like, at 113 decibels, it's going to knock the plaster off the walls.
Jeez. Yeah, I try to sleep through my alarms. I end up hitting snooze. And my issue is that I will hit snooze on the alarm on my phone and then lay the phone by my head, and 10 minutes later when the alarm goes off again, scare the ever-living crap out of myself because it's right by my ear.
What happens with me is I'll put it on the pillow next to me, and you know that snooze is 9 minutes. There's actually a reason why every snooze out there, except for a few, are 9 minutes and not 10. Because at 10 minutes, you're theoretically in too deep of a sleep, so 9 minutes is where it's the optimal time to get you, based on some science from like the 60s or something like that.
Yeah, let me tell you, it gets me every damn time.
My problem is that my pillowcases are so slick, they're like satin, that the phone slips, falls, and then winds up under the pillow by the time the 9 minutes is up, and I don't hear it anymore. But the alarm that wakes me up the most often out of mine, I actually have, it's a song from the TV show The Boys. It's off of the one episode, if you guys have watched it, when Huey goes into the Vought building. Not going to give any spoilers, just say that there's a scene that does that. The song in that is called Breaking In, or Breaking Entry, something like that. It is such a great song that I have that as my wake up thing, because it starts out with this high pitch, like almost like the beginning of the Immigrant Song for vocals.
Uh,
Yeah, and now Kat's like, that was interesting. I never knew why they're all 9 minutes. Yeah, I don't even remember where I saw that. I read so much random shit. Like, I couldn't even tell you how old I was when I read that. I could tell you I was still in school. I think I was in high school, maybe. But yeah, no.
I have a weird song for my wake up alarm, so
The most effective alarm I ever had was one that I made myself. It was 3 different sounds at 3 different tones, at 3 different tempos. And they were the 3 most annoying sounds I could possibly synthesize from my music program. And I put them on my studio speakers, and I cranked that shit. No sleeping through that.
Well, I wake up from this to the theme song from Dexter.
You know, I've never watched it, never heard it. I'm going to have to. I know, It's a crime. Sorry, the song is called Take You Down. I'm going to go ahead and actually play a little bit of it here. I haven't quite figured out how to route it through my music. I know I can, I just haven't figured it out yet, so I'll just do it here through my speaker. If it'll play, come on. This is my wake-up alarm that works best. And that scene on The Boys, it's one of the funnier early scenes of the show. It's like second episode, third episode. And it is
I remember it.
Freaking hilarious. And that song, it sticks with you so strongly that scene, you hear that song and that scene pops to mind usually.
Yeah, it does. I have to catch up on The Boys. I'm behind.
I'm behind a couple episodes. If they're doing they're dropping one a week, I'm like, you suck.
I know.
You're supposed to drop them all at once.
I know. It does suck. I also am behind on Supernatural.
Yeah, I'm caught up. There's an episode tonight. It's the final 5 episodes.
I missed the one tonight. I'm caught up until tonight's.
Mine, well, where I'm at, it hasn't aired yet. It airs in less than a half an hour.
Ah.
Aha. For people that are listening and not quite sure, Supernatural, this is its 15th and final season. It was so popular in the 6th, 7th, and 8th seasons, which I don't really understand the 8th season, but when TV Guide did their first ever Viewers' Choice Awards, Supernatural won all 3 years.
Yeah.
And it's from this little rinky-dink company, the CW, which was the WB. Actually, when they started the show, it was the WB. Mm-hmm. It's a nobody network. It wasn't ABC, CBS, NBC, TNT, or any of those big boys. Little goofy-ass dark comedy show took over.
Oh, it's
so good.
It is so good.
Now, I will say that if you don't want to watch all 15 seasons, fully understandable. There were some pretty shit seasons. Not gonna lie, there were seasons that it was like having dental work. Yeah, dental work with no anesthesia. They were bad, but they were worth getting through because the last few seasons have been great. No, they're not as good as the first 5 seasons. I don't think anything could top the first 5 seasons. The first 5 seasons is one contiguous storyline.
Yeah, and it's excellent.
It is epic beyond belief. And I mean,
there are a few hit or miss episodes in those first 5 seasons, but overall, the majority is just amazing.
Bugs, Wendigo, those two.
Exactly.
Now, I didn't mind the Wendigo episode. It's just, it's really bad special effects. The story itself, I thought, was great.
The story was great. Bad special effects.
Yeah, and Bugs, they're like, yeah, we're going to use live honeybees, and hopefully they'll show up on the camera. So they all the actors and all that, and the crew got the shit stung out of them, and not one bee was visible.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bugs. As a bug person, I liked just the fact that they dealt with bugs, but it was a bad episode. It was a really bad episode. But overall, like the pilot episode was one of the best pilots I've seen of any show ever.
Yeah, it was really great. And if you watch the pilot and it doesn't hook you, maybe it's not for you.
Yeah, I could go with that. I mean, honestly, I give every new show a 5-episode try. Because sometimes it takes a couple of episodes for the writers and the cast to really find their chemistry.
Yeah.
For the writers to understand how the actors are playing the characters, and the actors start, gelling on camera and all that.
I mean, plus there are some phenomenal actors on Supernatural. I mean, they really, really get into the part.
JDM.
Oh my God, yes.
Also known as Negan on The Walking Dead.
Yes.
Oh, he's amazing.
He is absolutely amazing. I still have to meet him. I so want to meet him.
Rumor has it he's in negotiations for The Boys season 3.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I know Jensen is.
Yep. Soldier Boy.
Oh. Soldier Boy.
Which they even mention in season 2, which is awesome.
Yes.
But now we are so far off track from mental health. However, watching a good series that you can geek over with others does help with mental health. Not even going to lie.
It does. And I mean, I'm one of those people who I have Supernatural merchandise. If you see me in public and I'm wearing, one of my many, many, many Supernatural t-shirts or something like that, and I love it when people geek out and come up to me and are like, oh my God, I love that show. Do you remember blah, 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 blah? And, I'll stand and talk to a stranger for 20 minutes about Supernatural because we have it in common.
Now, I'm going to say it. To this day, I still say if it's not my absolute favorite episode, it's definitely top 3, Weekend at Bobby's.
Oh, yeah.
Which happens to be Jensen's directorial debut.
Kat says, are either of them on Prime? Actually, Kat, Supernatural is on Netflix and The Boys is on Prime.
Yeah. I was going to say, the only time I've ever seen Supernatural is on Netflix. I've never seen it anywhere else. And I mean, I just wanted to watch it because I was like, a show about supernatural stuff? Okay. I have no idea what this is going to be about, but let's check it out. It was nothing like I expected, and I was hooked in the first 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah, me too. I mean, that one line.
Which one? Dad's gone camping?
Dad's on a hunting trip.
Dad's on a hunting trip, yes. Ugh, man.
Although I
have to say, the very end of that pilot episode was cheese. Total cheese. Like, oh my God, you almost killed the entire will of wanting to watch more episodes. Cheese.
Yeah.
That digital slow motion, I'm here to rescue you at the last possible second. I was like, come on. But up until then, everything about that episode was just freaking phenomenal, including right to that moment. And then that moment came and it's like, damn it. Oh yeah, Kat, The Boys. You talk about a dark comedy.
Oh my God, but so good.
So dark, so good. I'm not going to say, honestly, Handmaid's Tale, way darker. Way, way darker.
I still have to watch that.
I can't even finish it. I finished season 1 and I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. And usually dark things don't bother me. That one, nope, I'm done.
I haven't even tried it just because you said that.
Try it.
I mean,
at least try it.
I need to. I just got done actually watching something on Netflix called The Haunting of Bly Manor.
How was that?
So that was actually, it's not bad.
All right.
It's really not bad at all. If you watched The Haunting of Hill House and you enjoyed it, I think you'd like Bly Manor. And I recently started something called Ratched.
I've heard mixed reviews on that one.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about it. I've only watched an episode, and I'm gonna give it a couple more, but I'm not really sure if it's gonna be something I'm gonna end up loving.
Now, one that I absolutely loved, I'll just full disclosure, I hated Blair Witch Project. I thought it was horrible.
Oh, thank God, me too.
I thought it was an hour and a half of my life that was wasted, and I wanted to sue to get it back.
I'm really not big on found footage movies like that.
I'm usually not either, but Cloverfield, I was hooked.
Well, Cloverfield was well done.
Yeah, Cloverfield was unbelievable. I still haven't seen the rest of the Cloverfield movies, like the Cloverfield Lane and all that. I've just seen the first Cloverfield, and it's just, oh my god. So good. But yeah,
I didn't care for Blair Witch either.
You know, it's Halloween almost. Might as maybe part of why we're talking about this stuff.
Oh, possibly. I'm a big scary movie fan anyway. I mean, I love scary movies, even the cheesy ones.
Like Scary Movie.
Yeah. Even that. I mean,
okay, gotta ask you, have you seen Zombievers?
No, I haven't.
It's one of those B-rate movies that knows it's a B-rate movie and is campy for the sake of being campy, but still a decent movie.
Okay.
They don't take themselves seriously.
I'll have to give this a try, because I do have a thing about B movies. I like them. There are some that my absolute favorite B movie is called Fading of the Cries.
I haven't heard that one before.
It has I cannot remember the actor's name for the life of me, but the guy who does the voice of the Chucky doll in the Child's Play movies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he is a dark wizard magician in this, and there's basically the premise of the movie is the dead are being raised, and there's this one boy and his sword, and he's got to save the town or whatever, and it's a B movie, but it's just really good. I really enjoyed it.
A really good B movie that's a bit on the creepy side, and I mean it's still really good. The Stuff.
Oh, I have that.
And it's such a good bad movie.
It is. I remember watching that like back in the 80s.
Yep. I remember watching that on TNT. Oh no, not TNT, TBS.
Yes.
Oh god. Another one that was, oh my god, it creeped me the hell out was Slithers. And a lot of people don't remember the name of it. It was about these like alien slugs that go into your mouth or your nose and take over your brain, reproduce in your brain, and then spread. Oh god, that one creeped me out.
Oh my god. You know, what I really can't believe, on the topic of movies in general, is that they are still making Tremors movies.
Why? The first one was great.
I just found out there's another one that just came out this year. It says 2020 on it. And I'm just like, really? Really, Netflix? You're making another Tremors movie?
My whole thing is how come the Dune franchise hasn't sued the living shit out of Tremors?
Oh, I don't know.
And I mean, then after that, I mean, also Beetlejuice. What is up with these giant worms in movies? Like, seriously. I did see that Dune's coming out again, a new one. And man, that trailer looks great.
Oh my god, apparently I've missed a couple Tremors movies, because there's one called Cold Day in Hell and one called, the new one is called Tremors Shrieker Island.
Oh god.
And I watched them, and I'm like, I don't really need to watch these. I mean, they're obviously going to be ridiculous movies.
Now, one series of movies that I thought the first one was absolute genius for as low budget as it was. An absolute genius horror movie was Saw.
Oh, Saw was absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant. Like, it was one of the smartest horror movies I think I've seen, like, ever at that point. And then the sequel started coming out, and they just started going down the toilet. And then they threw in this little plot hook going, oh, by the way, all these details that you missed in all the previous movies actually mattered.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Now,
it was really freaking great.
Now, whether that was truly deliberate or just, oh god, we're fucking up the series, we need to save it, I don't know. Either way, brilliant. Whether it's a brilliant recovery or the brilliant long con, brilliant.
It worked, whatever it was.
Yep. Somebody knows somewhere, and they're probably never going to say.
I mean, I love when movies have when the sequels like that, where it's not just that they take off and make another part of the story, but when they hook all the storylines together. And that's why I love the TV show. That's why I love Futurama so much, because you can watch an episode on its own and it's okay, but you watch the series as a whole, and it's one huge long story.
Just like the first 5 seasons of Supernatural.
Exactly.
It's a monster of the week for 5 seasons with a story arc that is just amazing. And honestly, I still say, as horrible as the Leviathan were, I had never seen Misha act better and more convincingly than when he had the Leviathan.
I know.
Man, I wish they would have milked that for the rest of that season.
I know. That was amazing.
And like when they showed like him at his peak, I'm like, yes, keep him this way for at least a couple more weeks. Very next episode, no more.
I know.
Like, you suck. That was going to save that season. And they went, save it? Nah, we're flushing it. Anyway, I think we spent enough time talking about non-mental health stuff. We've gone way off topic. Again, we can't be left
Talking
unsupervised.
about non-mental health stuff is good for our mental health.
That is very true. It is very true. And it was like, again, the Orange Lodge Radio was great. Definitely come back next week. I'm just going to go ahead and drop it now. The topic is, from what, Dark Sakura told me, is she's going to be talking about living with autism and other mental health issues that can come along with it. I know a number of people have their calendars already have this date circled because it's kind of a big one.
Yeah, this is going to be a really good episode.
It really is. We're going to get a perspective that you don't usually get. She actually dropped a website on Orange Lounge Radio. I think it was like anotherplanet.org or something like that. I'll have to have her drop it on this episode as well when she gets here. It's basically, she says she relates to it completely at times because she feels like she is from another planet. And that's what autism's like. And this website is good for both people with autism to help them to more understand themselves and their own struggle because they can relate to it. And for people that don't have autism to understand more about what it's like to have autism. And of course, autism is a spectrum. It's not just, one thing, and it affects different people differently.
Right.
But still, it's a good resource, and we'll definitely have her bring that up. But yeah, she's actually been pretty thrilled about coming on this podcast. I told her, it's not the big platform she's used to, but it gives her the ability to talk about something that's near and dear to her heart that she doesn't get to talk about as its own topic for extended periods of time very often. Definitely very grateful for my chance to be on Orange Lounge Radio. Anybody that's listening from Orange Lounge Radio is the fan base. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming over and checking us out. Definitely come back next week because, hey, one of your favorites is coming over here now. And I'm hoping to be able to grab the other two as well, Star and Loki, to come over and do episodes with us too. Because, it's clear that they're all passionate about it. So in the meantime, again, check out the website, the donations tab. We could definitely use the help. Recommend the episodes to people. Share them to people. If you have your own preferred player or someone says, hey, do they have an RSS feed? We do. I'm actually going to put it up. I forgot to do that when I first built the site. I'm sorry I haven't been updating it with the latest episodes. I do plan on, once we actually have a resource page, of keeping it maintained and keeping the episodes updated as we go. And yeah, the Spring Sea shop might be up as early as tomorrow. Might take a few days. I don't really know. Still designing it. Still seeing how it all works. But it will be up soon, and get some merchandise.
That'll be awesome.
In the meantime, I'm E.
And I'm Bexy.
And we'll talk to you next week.
Bye, y'all.